Congratulations, this is my 50th broadcast. That's good. Didn't realize that I was so into it. Okay. We're going to have a little civics lesson today. I've got several calls and inquiries from across the nation, and I actually did more than everybody, I'm going to do this first. I actually wrote an article this morning that was in line with what seems to be going on in the news. I watched a couple of documentaries last night. Anyway, there's this myth that we all buy into. It's called democracy. The idea that we, the people, have the ability to have our voices heard above the roar of government. The wealth of information available on the internet is a direct challenge to that government and its top assistant, mainstream media, as they perpetuate the myth. Only problem is democracy actually worked this time. The money changers couldn't steal the election, so they will try to steal our voice for the next time. Communication systems have a pattern that's fairly predictable. I see you, Brenda. I see you. The telegraph, the telephone, movies, television, radio, and now the internet were all conceived sort of wild and free until the government, at the urgence of the money changers, urged regulation and tried to stifle in an effort to control the flow of information, which ultimately controls people's minds. In any tyrannical system, the public is always a suspect. It is assumed that every person has broken some law, said something, or otherwise tried to slip between the cracks of the system in some way. So we have it now with the internet today. And we've all done it. You want to use some service or some software, and you scroll down through the terms of service, which nobody reads, and wouldn't understand it if you did read it, probably. And you finally find the I agree button, and you click it. Well, you just agreed that if you lie about your weight on eHarmony, then you are a felon. So, should you become an activist at some future date, it doesn't take much work on the part of the law enforcement to come up with 20 or 30 transgressions you made in the last year alone, and then they work on a plea bargain. Facebook is the largest offender, but by no means the only one. It has Microsoft, Apple, AT&T, and most all cell phone providers sliding up to the hog trough to feed our information to the FBI, CIA, NSA, and any other government agency that feels the need to protect us at any given moment. And you may say, well, if you have nothing to hide, why concern yourself? Well, you should concern yourself because this overkill of surveillance actually makes us all less safe. FBI gumshoes are recording 80-year-old Edna's conversation with her twin sister about cookie recipes, and the bombs go off in Boston. People in government are mostly human, well, for the most part, and it's impossible to weed through the tons of useless information to locate someone of interest that may be a real threat to national security. While the TSA does a cavity search on a 10-year-old little girl, they completely miss the woman in full Islamic attire, arriving from Allah knows where, foaming at the mouth. Yeah, that one, San Bernardino. Remember that? Merry Christmas. The real purpose of regulation is not to protect, but to control. The design is to keep the national conscience in sync with the party line that's being fed to us by the mainstream media. And if anyone disagrees, at the least, they are called a conspiracy nut, and at the very worst, they're considered a threat to national security. The litmus test is if they arrest you, you're probably too close to the truth. And there is fake news. We're going to get into that later. What the government doesn't understand is that we, the people, have minds. We are endowed by our Creator to reach understanding and all have the ability to discern. The beautiful part of the internet, when it's running free, is when some basket case emerges with a crop of fertilizer, it doesn't take very long before they become exposed, kind of like what's happening to the mainstream media right now. They tried their best to nullify the election of Donald Trump. With tightly cropped video shots of demonstrators in the street, it soon became apparent that George Soros simply couldn't pay enough people to overwhelm the fact that the people had made a right turn and the country is going back on track no matter how many filings Jill Stein makes. The flow of information is going to be critical over the next 4 years. The Bible talks about wars and rumors of wars. Well, verily, verily, I say unto you that rumors of wars can be more dangerous than actual wars, because the threat or perceived threat of invasive action gives the government all the more reason to protect us just a little bit more. And we're all on the edge of our seat, expecting the entire power grid to be taken down by a firecracker. We will be all the more susceptible to whatever the government and Facebook feeds us. The good news is the system set up by the Founding Fathers has worked. A non-politician came out of the blue and beat the machine. What was Hillary's main push? She drilled down on Trump not being a seasoned politician. By doing that, she exposed the naked truth that in Washington there are them, and then there's the rest of us. Well, the rest of us put one of us in the White House. That's the reason we must fight to keep the flow of information free and clear on the internet. They are still there, and they don't like us. We get in the way. We eat too much. We talk too much, and they have to come down from Mount Olympus every 2 to 4 years and put up with us for a little while so they can feed us the myth of democracy. Now, the reason I wrote that was I've got a bunch of concerned people around the country. Hey, man. Thanks for sharing, y'all. The rumor came out of Alex Jones, I think, yesterday that Obama had nullified the First Amendment. I'm just going to cut right to the core on this. That's impossible. Okay, that the very idea of freedom of religion, freedom of the press, freedom of speech, the First Amendment of the Bill of Rights can be nullified by a president is, well, I haven't drank enough this holiday season to get that crazy. Okay, it's as simple as that. We should be concerned. People like Jill Stein, she's filing, I don't know, she's filing some other motion where she's just challenging the overall election process, I guess, and trying to get some judge to just nullify the whole election. Fellas, this is not going to happen. It's not going to happen. You gotta, I've called this Civics 101, and that's what it is. Stein is she is an idiot. But you follow the money. It's like I've told Terry and some others. What she does is she collects all this money. It takes $1 million to go and file some fruitcake case, okay? She goes up there, walks in, the judge takes one look at it and says, number one, you have no standing, and number two, I'm not taking the case. And then she says, oh, well, I guess I just have to take this whole $1 million then give it to charity. Okay, well, she's her favorite charity. Right. This woman's with the Green Party. She ran for president. I don't think she made the second debate. She is a loser. The Green Party? What part of California did that come out of? And George Soros. People are overly concerned. What's he going to do? Well, his last big push, he tried to overturn the election, and that didn't work out for him. So he's got 0 and 1 on his scorecard. He's not batting 300 or 1,000. These people, they make good news, and I'm not going to run the alternative media down, but it gets people all upset. That's right. No right-thinking judge would do it. The last judge just told her, "You have no standing, Jill." If you had run against Donald Trump and come within 0.5% of losing, then you'd have standing and say, "I think a recount might be in order. I might have just won this thing." But Jill, you didn't really show up on the National Register until you started all these lawsuits. Okay, that's as simple as that. California wants to secede, but I don't think they can do it. They don't have a history of being a republic like Texas. So we have an actual history of being a republic, and we behave. Even today, we behave like something is different. We have a national character. We have a national character in Texas. It's not just a state. It's a national character. California doesn't have that. I mean, I wish them all the luck, whatever they want to do. Utah has the same problem. They were never a republic, but they have a certain character. They're predominantly Mormon. They're all thinking pretty much the same way, but they just don't have the put-togethers to back somebody up and say, this is what we're going to do. Obama, Soros, Clinton are evil and must all pray and stand together to heal this land. Exactly, Esther. And that's what the reason for the whole article with I started on the internet was the internet was basically free. And what they're doing now is they're trying to fix it where it's not a free speech zone at all. You can, Mr. Wilbur, these people are trying to get in the back door. We're inside out, yeah. And that's what we need to do. And the way we cover that back door is we keep information like this going. I was picking on Facebook a little bit. The reason I picked on Facebook is it's the largest. Now, Facebook has the right to govern their business any way they want. I like this feature. As far as publishing the printed word, it doesn't work for me. It doesn't work. The numbers are all fake, and I don't need likes and clicks. I need people to listen to what I got to say, and here I get people to listen to what I've got to say. The one thing you have to be aware of is alarmist statements. Obama's taken down the First Amendment. Education is power, but the president can't do that. He can't just strike the First Amendment. Now that's not just freedom of speech. That's freedom of religion, freedom of the press. Freedom of the press. The press in this country is supposed to be an adversary press. In other words, they're supposed to automatically disbelieve everything that comes out of the White House and check it out. No matter who's in there, Donald Trump, Obama, whoever. They're supposed to say, why are we messing with Syria? Why are we messing with Iraq? What are we going to get back for it? Why are these things happening? They're not supposed to just, something occurs that they don't like and they just don't run the story, which is mainly what they do. And when I say close crop, that's a technique. When you had these marchers in the street demonstrating right after Donald Trump was elected, years ago I did a show with Oprah Winfrey when she was first starting out up in Branson, Missouri. It was a 4th of July show, and it was hot. And they were going to use the Silver Dollar City stage, and what they were doing was little vignettes all over the country with people, waving the flag and everything. She was center stage, but the problem was only about 100 people showed up to watch her. It was older people, Silver Dollar City, and Rodney Diller wasn't playing that night, so they didn't come. We gathered about 100 people, and what the producer did was he packed them all together in the center of the venue and close cropped the camera in like this, because it gives the illusion if there's a lot of people here, you imagine there must be a lot of people over on the outside too. Okay? And different angle shots give the illusion of that. Well, that's what the demonstrators did. With close cropping, aerial shots, stuff like that, it looked like half the city of Los Angeles and New York turned out. And that was not the case. And it's like I said, eventually they all went home. All went home like good boys and girls. And then we started this electoral college is going to be overturned. It's unfair. It's this. It's that. And I kept telling people it's not going to happen. It's going to go exactly as planned. And I don't think there was a 5-vote spread in what we perceived was going to happen and what actually happened. Okay, and all this recount and everything, I read about one recount where Trump actually came up with more votes. Optical illusion, exactly, Cindy. It's exactly that. And people don't realize that unless they actually see a TV show filmed. When you bring the camera in close like that, like I said, if you got all kinds of people right here, you imagine on the outskirts that the same amount of people are there. It gives the illusion. And that's what demonstrations were. They were illusion. The main thing is that mainstream America turned out and they voted for Trump against Hillary. Hillary had nothing to offer. She didn't have a plan for anything except she wanted to get back in the White House. She is a globalist. There are politicians have gone this. They say New World Order and all that kind of stuff. They're trying to dissolve borders. They dissolved some borders over in Europe, and y'all see what happened this week with a young man tripping merrily through Germany, France, and Italy after he run a semi through a Christmas festival. There's your porous borders right there. A nation has to have borders. You have to keep people out that come in to hurt your people. And you want all the NSA and eavesdropping and TSA and all that kind of stuff. Why don't we just don't let people with rags on their heads get on airplanes and fly to America for a while? Why don't we do that? I think that probably work. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know, people that. Why don't we not do business with people that march in the streets in their country and say "Death to America"? You know, and then they come at us. Yeah, they come at us with you need to buy some more oil. No, we don't need your oil. We have oil. Mm. Um, we do some common sense stuff. We don't need to listen to Edna talking to her twin sister about cookies. We need to but somebody that stands out in the street and films himself praising ISIS, and FBI is supposed to be watching him. Thank you, Cindy. We kind of need to watch them folks, you know. And when anybody that's not a black person and is darker than me and not a Mexican person, probably need to watch them folks just a little bit, you know. We don't need to be frisking a 10-year-old down at the airport while she holds her Barbie doll in her little sucker. You know, I mean that's I'm just breeding common sense to y'all. And now the thing now, I'm just waiting on it to come out. The Senate has to seal and certify the Electoral College. It's a rubber stamp. Okay, uh, they're not going to go in there. They can't vote anything. They have to say we believe this or we don't. There's no reason not to believe it. It was like a 5-vote spread from what we expected. You know, about a 5-vote spread. I think you're supposed to get 309, and I heard they'll come up 305, and that's probably people that just abstained or. I don't think anybody. I think some actually switched their votes from Hillary to Clinton or to Hillary to Trump, but I'm not sure. I do know everything's going to be as normal. Now, some people are worried about these adversaries are going to be trying to bring Trump down when are going to impeach him when he comes to the White House. You got to be in office to do something wrong. High crimes and misdemeanors. High crimes and misdemeanors while in office. Okay? That's just, he's going to be a Republican president with a Republican Congress and a Republican Senate. God save the king. You know, the reason I'm calling this Civics 101 is I want you guys to understand that, well, yeah, we got to watch these people. We got to watch them. They're out of control. We got to get the country back on an even keel. But don't fear them. They're flopping in their grease right now because they're powerless. That's the main thing. They're powerless. So anyway, I'm going to sign this thing off. Go up to go to my page and you can see the links to all my blogs. And you can read this article up there. I put it up there today. Not all Muslims are bad people. That's true. But the ones that are peaceful outnumber one they need to be. Well, it's Matt, I'll conclude this with a simple statement. If I gave you a bowl full of M&Ms and 3 of them were cyanide, would you eat the M&Ms? Okay. It's as simple as that. Common sense is going to have to prevail and not panic. These people have been out of control so long, it's going to take a while before they realize that the old order has changed. Okay? The emperor is no longer in the White House. He's got a few days and he's out. Less than a month. Things are going to be different. That's what we all voted for. That's when I realized which way the election was going to go, was when a high percentage of voters across the board said they didn't care what happened, but they wanted something different. Hillary wasn't different, okay? Trump is different. So y'all check out the blog, pass this thing around if you can, and I'll see y'all probably tomorrow or the next day.